First contact. The massive alien vessel materialized at the edge of Earth's solar system without warning. One moment, space was empty. The next, a ship larger than mankind's largest city hung silent against the backdrop of stars. Admiral Maya Chen stood on the bridge of the EDS Intrepid, humanity's flagship defense vessel, watching the main view screen with practiced calm that belied her racing thoughts. "Any response to our hails, Lieutenant?" she asked, her voice steady. Lieutenant Reese shook his head. "Nothing, Admiral. We've broadcast on all frequencies using the first contact protocols. They're receiving, but not answering." Maya nodded, unsurprised. The United Earth Defense Force had prepared for this moment for decades. Since the mysterious signal from Proxima Centauri in 2047 that contained what scientists eventually decoded as a star chart marking Earth with a resource designation, humanity had unified with unprecedented speed. "Keep broadcasting," she ordered, "and bring the defense grid to standby." Quietly, Dr. Elijah Okafor, the xenobiologist assigned to the Intrepid, stepped closer to Maya. "Their technology is unlike anything in our theoretical models," he murmured. "The ship's structure appears to be constantly shifting at a molecular level." Before Maya could respond, the view screen flickered, and the bridge crew collectively held their breath. The being that appeared had a vaguely humanoid shape, but its skin shimmered like liquid mercury, and where a face should be, there was only a complex pattern of glowing symbols that shifted and rearranged continuously. "Humans of Earth," the alien spoke, its voice resonating directly in their minds, rather than through the ship's audio systems. "I am Overseer Zix of the Solarian Collective. Your world has been selected for integration. Resistance is unnecessary and inefficient." Maya straightened her uniform and stepped forward. "This is Admiral Maya Chen of the Earth Defense Ship Intrepid. We welcome peaceful contact with galactic neighbors, but we are not open to integration without discussion of terms." The symbols on Zix's face spun rapidly. "Terms are irrelevant. The collective requires your world's resources and genetic diversity. Your species will be preserved in managed habitats. Your technology will be assimilated. This is not negotiation. This is notification." Behind Maya, the tactical officer, Commander Jackson, quietly activated the ship's emergency protocols. Across Earth, defense systems were silently preparing, just as they had drilled for years. "Perhaps we should discuss this further," Maya offered diplomatically. "Earth has prepared diplomatic facilities for—" "Discussion is inefficient," Zix interrupted. "You have 24 Earth hours to prepare your surrender protocols. After that time, we will begin systematic integration regardless of consent." The transmission ended abruptly. Maya turned to her crew, their faces tense but determined. "Well," she said calmly, "they certainly didn't read the welcome pamphlet, did they?" A nervous chuckle rippled through the bridge, breaking some of the tension. "Admiral," Commander Jackson said, "Global Defense is acknowledging the alert. The Security Council is assembling." Maya nodded. "Good. Now we need to decide exactly how to tell the Solarian Collective that Earth isn't interested in being integrated." 6 hours later, Maya stood in the United Earth Security Council chamber in Geneva, surrounded by the highest-ranking military and political leaders from around the world. President Amara Okonkwo of the United Earth government stood at the central podium, her normally warm features set in grim determination. "The alien vessel has been joined by 6 more," she announced. "They've positioned themselves in key orbital positions around Earth. Our analysts believe they're preparing for a planetary blockade." General Wei, commander of the Asian Continental Forces, leaned forward. "Madam President, what are our options? Their technology clearly surpasses our conventional capabilities." "Conventional is the key word," Dr. Okafor interjected. He had been analyzing the sensor data continuously since first contact. The Solarian ships emit energy signatures that suggest quantum entanglement technology. They're incredibly advanced, but there's something unusual about their patterns. "Explain," President Okonkwo demanded. Their systems are perfectly synchronized, with zero variation. It's as if they're all extensions of a single mind. Okafor pointed to the holographic display. This level of uniformity suggests they may lack adaptability. They've likely never encountered a species that could truly challenge them. Maya stepped forward. Madam President, the Artemis Protocol was designed for exactly this scenario. We've spent 30 years preparing for this day. The room fell silent. The Artemis Protocol was humanity's last resort defense strategy, developed in secret after the Proxima signal. Only those in this room knew its full scope. The collective expects us to either surrender or attempt a conventional defense, Maya continued. But we're not going to do either. They've never encountered human unpredictability before. President Okonkwo's eyes narrowed. You believe we can succeed against this level of technology. I believe we won't surrender without showing them exactly what they're dealing with, Maya replied firmly. Humanity has survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and our own self-destructive tendencies. We didn't come this far to be integrated without a fight. The president nodded slowly. Very well. Activate Artemis. She turned to address the entire council. Ladies and gentlemen, as of this moment, Earth is at war. As the council dispersed to implement their assigned roles, Maya found herself standing beside Dr. Okafor at the window, looking up at the night sky where the Solarian ships hung like new, ominous stars. They think they know what we are, she said quietly. They've studied us, cataloged us, classified us as a resource. Their mistake, Okafor replied. Throughout human history, nothing has united us faster than a common enemy. Maya smiled grimly. And nothing makes humans more dangerous than being underestimated. 23 hours later, Maya stood on the bridge of the Intrepid once more. Around Earth, the Solarian vessels had deployed smaller craft that now orbited every major city. Their message was clear: surrender or face destruction. They're hailing us, Admiral, Lieutenant Reese reported. The Overseer is requesting our response. Maya took a deep breath. The Artemis Protocol was in place. Across the solar system, hidden facilities had activated. Earth's true defenses, the ones that had been kept off any record, built in secret bunkers and asteroid bases, were ready. Open the channel, she ordered. Overseer Zix appeared on screen, the symbols on its face pulsing steadily. Your time has expired. What is your decision? Maya stared directly at the alien being. The people of Earth have considered your offer of integration, she said clearly. And we have a response. Earth is no one's resource. Earth is no one's colony. Earth is no one's battlefield but our own. The symbols on Zix's face spun chaotically. This is illogical. You cannot resist. Actually, Maya replied with the hint of a smile. Resistance is what humans do best. You should have studied our history more carefully. She glanced at Commander Jackson. Now, across the solar system, humanity unleashed its response. From Mars, from the asteroid belt, from seemingly empty sectors of space, Earth's hidden fleet emerged. Not the conventional defense ships that the collective had no doubt cataloged, but vessels of a different design entirely. Ships built with technology reverse-engineered from decades of secret research. You've made a critical error, Overseer, Maya said as the alien's face registered what could only be confusion. You assumed we were alone. You assumed we were unprepared. You assumed we were primitive. She leaned forward. The Solarian Collective isn't the first advanced civilization to find Earth. You're just the first to threaten us openly. As she spoke, the first wave of Earth's true defense forces engaged the Solarian vessels. The battle for humanity's future had begun, and Earth had just played its first card in a game the collective didn't even know they were playing. Resistance rising. The space around Earth erupted into chaos as the hidden human fleet revealed itself. The Solarian vessels, caught by surprise, struggled to reorient their defenses against attacks coming from multiple vectors. What should have been a simple integration operation had transformed into something the collective had never experienced. genuine resistance. Inside the Overseer's command ship, Zix observed the unfolding battle with growing confusion. The symbols that comprised its face spun in discordant patterns, the collective equivalent of extreme agitation. Impossible, Zix communicated to his subordinates. Their technological capabilities were assessed at Integration Level 3. These vessels utilized principles beyond their development stage. Secondary Overseer Nix, responsible for intelligence gathering, rippled with distress. The humans concealed their true capabilities. Our observation protocols failed to detect these assets. More concerning, added Strategic Overseer Rix, their attack patterns are chaotic, unpredictable. The defense algorithms cannot establish proper countermeasures. For the first time in its existence, Zix experienced an unfamiliar sensation, doubt. On Earth, in the underground command center beneath Geneva, President Okonkwo watched the battle unfold on holographic displays. Maya stood beside her, directing the human fleet with calm precision. The Phantom Squadron is engaging their northern flank, Commander Jackson reported. Quantum disruption weapons are having the expected effect. Their shields can't compensate for the phase variance. Maya nodded. Deploy the Nemesis drones to their command ship. Let's see how the collective handles true asymmetric warfare. Dr. Okafor approached with a tablet displaying real-time analysis. Their communication patterns are fragmenting, he reported with barely contained excitement. I believe we've confirmed my theory. The collective operates as a unified consciousness. By disrupting their quantum communications, we're essentially inducing cognitive dissonance across their fleet. President Okonkwo raised an eyebrow. You're saying we're giving them a collective headache? More like a collective nervous breakdown, Okafor clarified. Their ships are beginning to operate independently rather than as coordinated units. They've never had to function this way before. A cheer erupted from the tactical station as one of the smaller Solarian vessels disappeared from the display. Confirmation, Commander Jackson announced. Solarian support craft destroyed by Phantom Squadron. First confirmed collective casualty. The victory was short-lived. On the main display, the remaining Solarian ships began to reorganize, adapting their formation to the new threat. They're learning, Maya observed grimly. Faster than we anticipated. Outside Earth's atmosphere, Lieutenant Kira Yoshida piloted her Phantom-class fighter through the debris field of the destroyed Solarian vessel. Her squadron had achieved what many thought impossible, proving the aliens could be hurt. But the collective was responding with overwhelming force, targeting the Phantom Squadron with focused energy weapons that bent space itself. Evasive pattern Delta, she ordered her squadron. They've locked onto our energy signatures. Too many incoming, her wingman, Lieutenant Gabriel Diaz, warned. We need tow. His transmission cut off as his fighter erupted into light. Kira bit back a curse and pulled her ship into an impossible dive, letting momentum carry her beneath the Solarian cruiser's firing arc. This is Phantom Leader, she broadcast to command. We've lost 3 fighters, but we've confirmed a vulnerability in their aft sensor arrays, transmitting targeting data now. Back in Geneva, Maya received the transmission with grim satisfaction. They can bleed, she murmured, then turned to Jackson. Deploy the second wave. Target the weak points Phantom Squadron identified. The battle raged for hours, humanity's hidden technology proving surprisingly effective against the advanced alien vessels. But the collective was vast, and for every small victory the humans achieved, the aliens adjusted their tactics, learning and adapting. In orbit above North America, the Solarian command ship unleashed a new weapon, a gravitational pulse that tore through a cluster of human defenders, crushing them instantly. Earth's fleet was taking heavy losses, but fighting with a ferocity that clearly confused the collective. Admiral, Captain Rodriguez of the EDS Defiant reported, his face grim on the comm screen. We can't hold them much longer. Our quantum disruptors are losing effectiveness as they adapt their shielding. Maya nodded. Fall back to secondary positions. Prepare for Phase 2. President Okonkwo looked sharply at Maya. Phase 2 wasn't scheduled until we'd achieved greater attrition of their forces. They're adapting too quickly, Maya explained. We need to implement Phase 2 before they can fully counter our current tactics. She turned to the communications officer. Send the signal to Luna Base. Authorization Artemis Omega. Deep beneath the lunar surface, in a facility unknown to all but a few hundred humans, Colonel Fatima Hassan received the authorization code and immediately began the activation sequence. Around her, engineers and scientists who had dedicated their lives to this secret project watched with a mixture of hope and apprehension as the massive device powered up. Quantum entanglement field stabilizing, reported the chief engineer. Targeting systems online. Fatima nodded. Initialize the Atlas array. Target the Solarian command ship. On Earth, Dr. Okafor stared at his readings in disbelief. The Atlas is generating power levels beyond our simulations, he reported. If this works, it will work, Maya said firmly. It has to. On the main view screen, the Solarian command ship suddenly shuddered, its surface rippling as if made of liquid. The quantum entanglement weapon from Luna Base had struck its target, not with destructive force, but with something far more insidious. The weapon didn't attack the ship's hull or systems. It attacked the very quantum field that allowed the collective consciousness to function as a unified entity. Direct hit, Commander Jackson confirmed. Quantum disruption at 87% effectiveness. On screen, the Solarian vessel began to move erratically, its weapons firing randomly into space. Similar effects spread to nearby collective ships as the quantum disruption cascaded through their communication network. What have you done? Overseer Zix's voice echoed through the command center, broadcasting on all frequencies. The symbols on its face were no longer orderly but chaotic, some disappearing entirely. We are, discontinuity. We've introduced chaos into your ordered system, Maya replied. A uniquely human solution. For several tense moments, the Solarian fleet hung in disarray. Then, unexpectedly, they began to withdraw, pulling back to a higher orbit beyond the immediate reach of the Atlas array. A cheer started in the command center, but Maya raised her hand for silence. This isn't victory, she warned. They're regrouping. Indeed, the Solarian ships were forming a new pattern, different from their previous formations. Smaller vessels were merging with larger ones, combining their masses. They're consolidating, Dr. Okafor observed, reducing the number of independent units vulnerable to our quantum attacks. President Okonkwo's face was grim. How much time have we bought? Hours, maybe a day, Maya estimated. They'll adapt to the Atlas array, find ways to shield themselves from its effects. Then we move to Phase 3, the president decided. God help us all. In the depths of space, aboard the damaged command ship, Overseer Zix struggled to reestablish control over the fragmented collective consciousness. Parts of the network had been severed entirely, forcing individual ships to operate with unprecedented autonomy. The humans possess technology that should be impossible at their development stage. Secondary Overseer Nix communicated. More concerning, Strategic Overseer Rix added, they understand our fundamental nature. They targeted not our ships, but our collective consciousness itself. Zix's symbols stabilized slightly as emergency protocols restored partial functionality. This species is unlike any we have encountered in 17,000 cycles of integration. They conceal their true capabilities. They employ deception and asymmetric tactics. Perhaps, suggested Rix, integration is not optimal in this case. Zix considered this unprecedented suggestion. The collective had never abandoned an integration once initiated. Yet these humans had demonstrated not just technological prowess, but strategic thinking that challenged the collective's fundamental assumptions. No, Zix decided finally. The resources of this world are too valuable. The genetic potential of this species is too significant. We will adapt our approach. The symbols on Zix's face formed a new pattern, one that had not been seen in the collective for millennia, the pattern signifying total war. "Prepare the singularity cascade," Six ordered. "We will reset this world and begin integration with whatever remains." As the Solarian fleet regrouped, humanity prepared for what might be its final stand. The initial surprise had given Earth an unexpected advantage, but the collective was rallying, adapting, learning. The real test was yet to come. In her quarters aboard the Intrepid, Maya studied the battle projections with weary eyes. They had hurt the collective, proven they weren't easy prey. But Phase 3 was a desperate gamble, a weapon of last resort that might save humanity, or doom it. Her comm unit chimed. "Admiral." Lieutenant Reese's voice came through. "Long-range sensors are detecting new energy signatures. The collective is deploying something big." Maya closed her eyes briefly, then straightened her uniform. "Alert all commands," she ordered. "The real battle begins now." The final stand. Dawn broke over a tense Earth. In the 24 hours since the first engagement, the Solarian collective had reorganized its forces into a new, more formidable configuration. What had been dozens of individual vessels was now a single massive structure in high orbit, a shifting geometric shape that seemed to defy conventional physics. "They've integrated their entire fleet into one entity," Dr. Okafor explained to the assembled leadership in Geneva's command center. His voice was hoarse from exhaustion. "It appears to be a defensive measure against our quantum attacks, but I believe it's also the preparation for something more." President Okonkwo looked to her military advisors. "What are our options?" General Wei shook his head grimly. "The Atlas array is ineffective against their new configuration. Our fleet has sustained nearly 40% losses. The remaining ships are in defensive positions, but—" He didn't need to finish. Everyone understood the situation. Humanity had bloodied the collective's nose, but now the alien force was preparing to respond with overwhelming power. "Phase 3, Maya said firmly. "It's time." The room fell silent. Phase 3 was the ultimate contingency, developed from the most classified research ever conducted on Earth. President Okonkwo closed her eyes briefly, then nodded. "Authorize Phase 3. Maya activated her secure communication link. "This is Admiral Chen to all Lazarus sites. Authentication code Thermopyla. Initiate Phase 3. Across the globe, in deep underground facilities and hidden oceanic installations, systems that had lain dormant began to activate. Humanity's last hope. A technology so dangerous its very existence had been compartmentalized beyond even most top-level clearances. In orbit, Lieutenant Kira Yoshida and what remained of Phantom Squadron maintained a defensive perimeter around Earth's main fleet. Through her view screen, she watched as the massive collective structure began to pulse with increasing energy. "Command, this is Phantom Leader," she reported. "Something's happening up here. The collective structure is." Her words cut off as a blinding light erupted from the alien configuration, a beam of concentrated energy, unlike anything humanity had ever witnessed, lanced toward Earth. It struck the Atlantic Ocean with apocalyptic force, instantly vaporizing a circular area 50 kilometers in diameter. The shockwaves spread outward, creating tsunamis that would soon devastate coastlines on both sides of the ocean. "Casualties," President Okonkwo demanded, her voice steady despite the horror unfolding on the monitors. "Early warning systems activated evacuations hours ago," General Wei reported. "But coastal damage will be catastrophic. This was just a demonstration strike. If they target a population center directly, they won't get the chance," Maya said firmly. "Lazarus sites report ready status. Initiating synchronization." Dr. Okafor approached, holding his tablet with trembling hands. "Admiral, President, before you proceed, you should know. Our simulations indicate a 22% chance that Phase 3 could trigger a cascading quantum event that might affect Earth itself." "What kind of effect?" the President asked sharply. "Unpredictable," Okafor admitted, "but potentially severe. Temporal distortions, localized reality fractures. Theoretical consequences of manipulating the quantum substrate at this scale. Maya met the president's eyes. The alternative is submission or extinction. After a moment's hesitation, President Okonkwo nodded. Proceed. Maya turned to Commander Jackson. Synchronize all Lazarus nodes. Full power. Across Earth and throughout the solar system, the hidden Lazarus installations activated simultaneously. Unlike the 8 Lazareti, which had targeted the collective's community, Maya turned to the president. We need to shut it down before. A blinding flash filled all monitors, then darkness. For several terrible seconds, every system worldwide went offline. When emergency power restored basic functions, the holographic display showed something no one had expected. Where the collective structure had been, there was now nothing but normal space. The enemy had vanished completely. Did we destroy them? Commander Jackson asked hesitantly. Unknown, Dr. Okafor replied, studying his readings. The quantum event exceeded our ability to measure or track. They could have been destroyed, displaced to another region of space, or even shifted into another dimensional phase. Phantom Squadron reports no sign of collective presence in the solar system, a communications officer announced. Luna Base confirms. They're gone. A cheer began to build in the command center, but Maya held up her hand. Maintain battle stations, she ordered. This could be temporary. Hours passed with no sign of the collective returning. Earth's defenses remained on high alert, but as day turned to night, and then to day again, hope began to grow that humanity had actually achieved the impossible. They had defeated an enemy of vastly superior technology. 3 days after the Lazarus event, as Maya was reviewing damage reports in her office aboard the Intrepid, Lieutenant Reese appeared at her door. Admiral, he said, his expression unreadable, we're receiving a transmission. Well, you should see this. Maya followed him to the bridge, where the main view screen showed a different alien being, not the liquid metal appearance of the collective, but a vaguely insectoid creature with compound eyes and iridescent exoskeleton. Humans of Earth, the being spoke, its voice translated through the ship's systems. I am Ambassador Vril of the Galactic Concord. Your species has come to our attention in a most dramatic fashion. Maya stepped forward. This is Admiral Chen of Earth. We're not familiar with the Galactic Concord. The alien's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. No, you wouldn't be. The Concord operates in regions of space far from your own. We have been monitoring the Solarian Collective's expansion for centuries, containing when possible, observing when not. You were watching us fight for our survival. Maya asked, unable to keep a note of accusation from her voice. Non-interference is our policy with developing worlds, Vril replied. But what you achieved against the collective has altered our assessment of your species. You not only resisted integration, you appear to have done something no other species has managed in 50,000 years. You have broken a collective invasion force. Maya glanced at Dr. Okafor, who had joined her on the bridge. Do you know what happened to them? Our sensors detected a quantum translocation event of unprecedented magnitude, Vril explained. The collective force appears to have been displaced approximately 3,000 light-years from your system. They survive, but in a severely compromised state. Will they return? Maya asked the question everyone wanted answered. Eventually, perhaps, Vril conceded, but not soon. Their hierarchical consciousness has been severely damaged by your weapon. It will take them centuries to recover fully. The bridge crew exchanged glances of relief and pride. Which brings me to the purpose of this communication, Vril continued. The Galactic Concord would like to establish diplomatic relations with Earth. Your species has demonstrated capabilities and creativity that suggest you could be valuable allies. President Okonkwo, who had been patched in from Geneva, spoke up. Ambassador Vril, Earth would welcome peaceful relations with the Concord. But I must be clear, we will not accept any form of subjugation or integration. Earth determines its own path. Vril's compound eyes shimmered. Of course. The Concord is a cooperative of independent species, not an empire or collective. Each member maintains its sovereignty while contributing to mutual security and advancement. And the Solarian Collective? Maya asked. Are they part of this Concord? No, Vril replied. The collective stands apart, believing all other species exist to be integrated into their consciousness. They have consumed hundreds of worlds over millennia. Until now, none had successfully repelled them. The implications weren't lost on anyone present. Humanity had achieved something unprecedented, and in doing so, had announced its presence to the wider galaxy in the most dramatic way possible. 1 month later, Maya stood beside President Okonkwo on the newly constructed reception platform outside New Geneva. Above them, the sleek diplomatic vessel of the Galactic Concord descended gracefully, its iridescent hull catching the sunlight. Are we ready for this? The president asked quietly. To step onto the galactic stage. Maya watched as Ambassador Vril and his delegation emerged from the ship. Behind them, representatives from a dozen alien species, all members of the Concord, followed in a display of diplomatic significance that transcended worlds. I don't think we have a choice anymore, Maya replied. We've shown the galaxy that humans aren't to be underestimated. That Earth is no one's battlefield but our own. As the alien delegation approached, the president stepped forward to greet them. Humanity's place in the cosmos had been forever changed. They had faced extinction and emerged not just surviving, but victorious, earning their place among the stars not through peaceful discovery, but through defiance and ingenuity in the face of overwhelming odds. And somewhere, thousands of light years away, what remained of Overseer Zix contemplated a lesson that the collective had never before needed to learn. Some species were better left alone. Earth was no one's battlefield but humanity's own, and they had just proven they would fight for it with everything they had.